So Tuivasa's next matchup has been made. I'm a little bit bummed that it's not in Australia because I think that would make a lot more sense. But this is such a prime example of why the UFC Apex just needs to go. Like you look at the kinds of fight nights that are taking place in arenas and arenas which they have to sell tickets to, compared to fight nights that take place in the Apex, in an arena that they don't have to sell tickets to. They're night and day. This is a fight night, and you got Thompson versus Holland, Tuivasa versus Pavlovich, Cortez versus Ribas, Nicolau versus Schnell, Bronson versus Hermanson, and then you've even got Clay Guida on there. You've got RDA on there as well. I mean, you've got some other big names kind of in the bottom. You've got Michael Johnson, Darren Elkins. I would probably put some people in seats. You know, Nico Price versus Philip Rowe just got added as well. And then you look at the UFC Apex cards. You look at the fight card that happened a couple of weeks ago. You look at the fight card that's about to happen. They're night and day. Like, can we please just stop putting on fight nights in the Apex already? Like, there's actually no reason why they can't constantly put on really good fight nights. I mean, that they wouldn't be this good every weekend. I know that, but they would still be good fight nights. You know, if they were forced to sell tickets to an arena in 50 out of 52 weeks or 46 out of 52 weeks and whatever it is that they do, the cards would be so much better. But anyway, I think I just wasted a little bit of time on a little rant at the start. But I don't really mind the matchup as much as a lot of people do, because I'm seeing a lot of people on YouTube thinking that this is not a winnable matchup for Tai Tuivasa. And as someone who had little to no hope for Tai Tuivasa in the Cyril Gane fight, I actually think that it is winnable. I'm not going to pick Tai Tuivasa to win the fight, but I'm going to pick Pavlovich, by the way, for full clarity. But I don't think the matchup's that bad. I think the timing's the worst part, and I think the location is also not a very good part. I mean, if you're MMA guru, you think that Tai Tuivasa's from Perth. He's not. He's from Sydney, but close enough. You know, it's in Australia. How often do they put on fight cards in Australia? Not often, especially they haven't put on one for like 3 years to my knowledge because of the whole situation that's going on right now. Tai Tuivasa should be fighting in Perth. He should be on the main card underneath Volkanovski, maybe above like Jack Della Maddalena, underneath Robert Whittaker, like the big names like that. He should be there. He should be fighting in Australia, and he shouldn't be fighting in a month's time. This is another one as well. He got beaten up by Cyril Gane 5 weeks ago at the time of me recording the video, and he's going to be fighting in a couple of months' time. I believe this fight card is in December, early December. Yeah, that's almost exactly 2 months away, 7 weeks away. So that's telling me that Tai Tuivasa probably got into sparring somewhat recently. I'd say he probably started sparring a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. I mean, did anyone else see the Cyril Gane fight? He didn't just get knocked out. He got kicked to the body a lot. You know, he took a lot of shots to the body. That's going to take time to recover. He took a lot of shots to the head. He did get knocked out as well. I mean, he didn't get like knocked out, but he did get he still got knocked out. You know what I mean? He's still in his time, man. If this fight was announced today or yesterday, whenever it was announced, but it was announced for February next year, I'll be like, this is great. 4 months, you know, Tai Tuivasa's got a little bit more time to recover. Maybe he can start getting back into training and go into a hard training camp after Christmas. Great. But he's not. It's just like, I don't really understand, man. It's just like, it's not the fact that it's a bad matchup, which it is. I think it is a pretty bad matchup, but it is winnable. I think that's the thing. I think a lot of people are really counting him out and saying it's not a winnable matchup. And as someone who has been a little bit critical of what I think that Tai Tuivasa can bring to the top of the rankings, I mean, I picked Tai Tuivasa to beat Derek Lewis, and I picked Tai Tuivasa to beat Cyril Gane, to lose Cyril Gane, sorry. I think it's still a winnable matchup. I mean, we saw Tai Tuivasa drop Cyril Gane, something that we'd never seen before. Cyril Gane arguably was in the most trouble he's ever been in his UFC career. Cyril Gane also should have won the 5th round against Ngannou if the judges weren't half asleep, or maybe a little bit money was thrown under the table. So there should have been a title fight. Whenever we get into some conspiracy theories, that yeah, man, it's so strange, this one, man. I think Sergei Pavlovich wins. I don't think he's going to get a title shot off beating Tai Tuivasa, though. And another thing is like, they've got a common opponent. I guess in hindsight, I know you could say they're not the same Derek Lewis. I mean, Tai Tuivasa knocked out Derek Lewis before Sergei Pavlovich did. And I guess you could say they're not the same Derek Lewis, but they're pretty close. And the thing is, Tuivasa had a competitive fight with Derek Lewis, and Sergei Pavlovich destroyed him. Like, I know MMA math doesn't work like that, but it's just the way that the fight played out. Like, Tuivasa was getting hit, Derek Lewis was putting him in a bad position, Sergei Pavlovich ran out there, was super aggressive, uber aggressive, knocked him out very early on, albeit an early stoppage. But the thing was with Derek Lewis is when he gets knocked down or knocked out, he falls face forward. He fell face forward when Tuivasa knocked him out, and he fell face forward when Sergei Pavlovich knocked him down. You know, so obviously the ref's gonna see him falling face forward and think that he's hurt. You know, like it's just yeah, I don't know. I guess we're just gonna move on from that situation. But I think Sergei Pavlovich is gonna come out, be super aggressive, fight from range, and land a lot. I think it's gonna be a much more competitive fight than the Gane fight, because Gane really was just outclassing Tuivasa for a few rounds, and then he eventually got the finish after Tuivasa was broken down. But man, not the best matchup in the world, but still very winnable. Tuivasa can land a good shot. Tuivasa's got really good clinch work as well. I think that's probably a pretty underrated part of his game that we didn't see too much of against Cyril Gane, because Cyril Gane was just too good, to be honest. That kind of is how it is. Sergei Pavlovich has a ridiculous reach advantage too. Yeah, just a stacked card. I mean, this is a fight night card, man. Like, we could have these more often. We could have these once every 2 weeks, and then have a terrible Apex card. I mean, I'd accept that. Like, what? This is a fight night card, man. Thompson versus Holland. Still not too sure who I'm picking. I might still go with Holland. It's pick 'em odds though, and I should think that's a fair line. Brunson versus Hermanson. Hermanson really should win that fight, man. Guida versus Holtzman. I think Guida should win this one. I know he's 60 fights into his career now, but I think RDA should dominate Brian Barberena. Brian Barberena, I don't rate him very highly. He's on a 3-fight win streak over Matt Brown. I think he was gifted the Darian Weeks decision as well, because Darian Weeks outlanded him and took him down twice, but it is what it is. Is what it is, boys. Yeah, that's it. Alright, I'll leave it there. It's a 7-minute video for one fight. Oh well, hopefully you didn't mind it. I'll see you in the next one.